all right. Leafing through the pages of Arya 7. Arya 7. So I was thinking, so really, how is it that people are brought back to life, huh? Is Roholor really involved? Because we have already encountered two types of resurrected humans in this universe. The whites, that's WIGHTS, the zombies in this universe. And now this fella, Beric Dondarrion, although the former are really just unthinking killing machines, with seemingly little or no memories of their past lives. Proper George Romero zombies, And Beric, okay, let's examine the differences one by one as we encounter them, because they might actually be fewer than we initially thought. Right, welcome, dear listener, to the incoherent ramblings of commentaries of an insane person. This time we turn to Arya 7 from A Storm of Swords. It's a chapter that opens with Angai firing arrows at the bloody mummers. Okay, let's proceed with order. First of all, Angai, the best archer in the band of outlaws known as the Brotherhood Without Banners. He's not on his own. He's firing arrows along with two of his companions, whom we haven't met before. Actually, some guy named Kyle. Don't get too attached to Kyle, because it'll last for about 2 pages. And another called Notch. You'll see where he gets his name. Thoros of Myr is with them, and they're super efficient, like swoosh, swoosh, killing bloody mummers who thought they could ambush them. And this whole thing is happening in a fraction of a village. Literally just a septry, a mill, a brew house, some stables in the middle of the desolation of weeds, burned trees, and mud. And Arya is watching the whole thing from above, from the crest of the wooded bridge. No, of a wooded ridge. Sorry, I misread that. Sitting on a horse, she's there with Gendry. They're kind of like in a kid's creche, sort of what you have at IKEA, minus the colorful plastic pit balls. Yeah, no, but really, because this is actual battle, and kids should be left out of combat, as per Convention of Geneva. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Gendry can take care of himself, but that doesn't change the fact that he's still underage. So swoosh, swoosh, they're all being hit by their arrows, these bloody mummers, or brave companions, if you want to use their preferred nomenclature. One on top of the roof, swoosh, and he falls down. Very Western kind of a trope, isn't it? There's two posted in front of a septry door. Swoosh, swoosh, that's... What's a septry, anyway? Same as a sept? Because it sounds more like the place where septs are made, doesn't it? A sept factory, if you will. But we'll find out more about it as we progress in the reading. No, but we actually know, as the assonance suggests, that it's more like a monastery. Septry, monastery. So more like the place where septons are made. And we'll have more descriptions later on, I think. A place where septons live in a quiet dignity, kind of like monks in prayer, meditation, brewing their beer, sort of like Trappist monks, There's a brewery, a water mill, it all makes sense. It all leads to that, ale. And all they need is just an information point and a gift shop, and that's voila, you put the septry on the map. So, yeah, the mummers were assaulting these spiritual brothers, as it were, but the Brotherhood Without Banners is all like, oh, no, you don't. Not on my watch. And even Beric Dondarrion is involved with some guy called, I'm not making this up, beardless dick. Meh. And the arrows Angai is shooting are no ordinary arrows either. You know, they've got sort of bodkins on their tips that can pierce steel breastplates as if they were made of silk. And I'm quoting here. To the point that Arya is still like, oh my God, she's all impressed and stuff. So I so want to learn that skill. That's it, it's decided. I'll be an archer when I grow up. And she's cheering after every kill because she remembers how nasty the bloody mummers can be. Remember from her days at Harrenhal. Meanwhile, the other two are shooting flaming arrows, even more effective, kind of like cocktail Molotov. And the Sceptry is soon on fire, which smokes the bloody mummers out. Ibonese, Volantines, Dothraki, you name it. Even Dothraki, according to George R. R. Martin's pronunciation. Thoros and Lord Beric were everywhere, you know. Their swords swirling fire. Love this image. So yeah, the battle is soon won by the side we're cheering for a change. And the only two allowed to flee are the two Dothraki. I didn't realize how so many Dothraki had joined the bloody mummers, actually. So they are allowed to flee so they can report back to Roose Bolton. Tell the tale, as it were. Only two survivors. And the sentry is still on fire, so some of the brothers without banners have to brave the flames to see if they can rescue some of the Brown brothers, kind of like monks in this universe. The Brown brothers who might be trapped inside and, look what we've got here. A Septon as well. And it's none other than Ut, a member of the bloody mummers. He's even wearing a chainmail over his robes. Aha, Ut, we meet again. Well, that's Septon Ut for you, if you don't mind. I'm a man of the faith, thank you very much. Yeah, but no. This Ut is a very bad man indeed. Turns out he's a minor attracted person who has non-consensual intercourse with boys, whom he then proceeds to silence forever. There. That's what he does, as Arya recalls. Honestly, I don't know why I'm using all these euphemisms, minor attracted person, non-consensual intercourse, as if this channel was monetized. It's not. But I'll tell you what, if you, dear listener, think that I'm going to do what every single other commentator and blogger has done with regard to this chapter, i.e., if you think I'm just going to go, oh yeah, the parallel with our universe is like so accurate because every single priest in the Catholic Church is a pedophile, isn't he? Yeah. No, I'm not going to do that. And not because I'm rushing in defense of the Catholic Church, far from it. It's just that, frankly, I mean, there's a limit to how predictable I intend to be in this series. I mean, I'm keen on being I'm not keen on being the equivalent to a stand-up comedian who goes, hey, what's with airline food? Am I right? I don't know why it came out. Is this I came out like that with this? Well, let me try a Seinfeld. Oh, what's with airline food? Okay, this is actually the impression of Jim Carrey doing the Seinfeld impression. All right, anyway, so where was I? But yeah, I mean, if it's that level of predictability, you know what I mean? No. No. Besides, it wouldn't exactly be courageous either, would it? I mean, what kind of courage does it take to take cheap shots at the only religion it's okay to mock and denigrate in any mainstream medium? I mean, ever since Father Ted, which was kind of the biggest sitcom in the British Isles about 3-4 years before A Storm of Swords was even published. And if you haven't watched a single episode of Father Ted, what's the matter with you? Go watch it. Okay, not now. Stay with me for now. Stay with me. So, what have we learned, Dougal? Oh, I feel like watching it now, actually. Now, okay, but I'll keep reading this for us. Right now, yeah, that seems to be the fun option. Anyway, what's the point I was trying to make? Oh, yeah, that it doesn't exactly require a whole lot of courage to take cheap shots at the only religion it's okay to mock in the mainstream. I say you want to be courageous, brave. You try and mock that other, older religion, and you'll be labeled a so-and-so. Or even that other, relatively younger religion, and you'll be labeled in a morgue. Badum-tish. So no, I won't be doing the old Catholic Church routine. Actually, it's funny how much time I actually spent saying what I will not be doing in this series. I suppose I could just simply jump back to the actual chapter, right? And simply not do the things that I won't do without explaining why I won't do. Welcome, dear listener. It's only been 11 minutes and 20 seconds. Right. Anyway, you'll be interested to know that Septon Att survives just about half a page longer than Kyle, because he's soon dangling beneath a tall elm tree from a rope. That's right, the old trope, the rope trope, I hear you ask. No, of course not. What are you even suggesting? I'm talking about the show Trials trope, conducted by these outlaws / revolutionaries / guerrillas, revolucionarios. You stand here convicted of blah, 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 and then death. There's no, there's no appointed, legal counsel, none of that. So they're having these show trials for every bloody mummer they captured alive. They just basically get them to confess their crimes and then hang them. Various other mummers are hanged, each of them trying to escape capital punishment with different tactics, Each of them met with the same amount of success, a 0. Bribes, requests for an application form to join the Brotherhood. A Mirish mummer even says, "This is outrageous. I, as a combatant and prisoner of war, demand to be treated as per the Hague and Geneva Conventions, above mentioned conventions." But no, not really. That's not really what he says. What he says is actually, "I, soldier." But, that's obviously the gist. Kind of like what a Nazi character says, "I am a soldier and I demand to be treated like one." In that mini-series about the Nuremberg trials, the one with Alec Baldwin. Not a really good film, actually. No, if you want to watch a really good movie about the Nuremberg trials, watch the 1961 Judgment at Nuremberg, with Martin Landau. You'll also have the pleasure of watching a Star Trek William Shatner playing General Guile Liaison and any capacities you wish to use me. Yeah, there was a terrible William Shatner impression. Should I give it another? No, okay, no. I'll leave Will alone. Anyway, what was I saying? Why do I digress so much today? Okay, let's stay on track. The bloody mummers, yes, that's right. They're all hanged by the same tree, forming a mummer's tree. Arya is thinking, how jolly, kind of like the Nightmare Before Christmas type of imagery, isn't it? She's just disappointed that Sandor Clegane, a.k.a. the Hound, wasn't hanged along with the rest of the bloody mummers. Turns out they just treated his burnt arm and they let him go. After robbing him of his gold, because outlaws. And because you remember from the previous chapter that Clegane was found not guilty in that trial by combat, having temporarily killed Beric Dondarrion. And you'll also remember in an even earlier chapter that there was no mention of Sandor Sandor carrying some gold in his purse. It was the mad huntsman who said that. There was a mention. Sorry, did I say there was no mention? There was a mention. It was the huntsman who said, "We'll blow all your Lannister gold on sex, drugs, and rock and roll while you rot in a crow cage." Ha ha! Yeah. So what gold? Now, and more importantly, how exactly did Sandor come in possession of that gold in the first place? It certainly wasn't Lannister gold, that's for sure, because the Lannisters don't exactly give you an indemnity pay when you desert their army. Just ask Tywin. So what's the deal? Did he rob a leprechaun? No, but I'm joking. He won it fair and square, in case you didn't notice. He won it fair and square at the Hand's tourney. There. Anyway, be it as it may, he no longer has that gold because the Brotherhood Without Banners they took it from him right before sending him on his way. Bye-bye, Sandy. That's what they call him. Have a safe trip, mate. Don't forget to send us a postcard. Bye. So the Brown Brothers are there. The Brown Brothers, they're all there, sitting on the grass and watching with resignation as the sceptre collapses by the fire. The last in a long series of nails in the coffin of that pious, place, ravaged by wars, looting, pillaging, and what have you. There's no shortages of sad stories to tell. Ever since, the war erupted, the War of the Five Kings erupted back in the Clash of Kings. So these Brown Brothers have all been robbed, like on a weekly basis. They're telling their sad stories. For the last 2 years, for the whole duration of Clash of Kings and these last 39 chapters. So all they can share with the Brotherhood is some stale oat bread and a cabbage soup. And consider yourself lucky you find a carrot floating in it, like Arya. And while they're there, feasting as it were, and no one even asks their names because the Brother Without Banners are kind of like celebrities, and they're about to say grace. These Brothers Without Banners, at which point a novice, a young brother among the Brown Brothers approaches them, and he's all like, we do ask to kindly refrain from praying your false god while under our roof. Your cooperation is much appreciated. Thank you, yes. Which really does take a lot of nerve. Not so much because the Brothers Without Banners just saved these Brown Brothers' skins, but because there simply isn't a roof anymore. Or am I wrong? Because they're under, there's no roof. Remember, the whole sceptre collapsed. It's an outdoorsy picnic, isn't that what they're having? I know, unless they're in the brew house. Okay, so they're in the brewery. My mistake. All right, anyway, Beric. Beric is all like, nah, that's cool. And you too, lemon cloak. Lemmy. Do try to be cool about it, yeah? Oh, yeah, that's right. Because Lem was about to, he was already going apeshit. Like, oh, how dare you? You don't tell me what to do. You're not my mother. We are guests here, Lem, okay? We are eating their food. We're drinking their ale. So let's all be positive, yeah? And comply, yeah? Let's not be a moaning Michael. Do you ever do that? Like whenever you want to call someone, with an adjective, you always add a first name that begins with the same letter. You're a grumpy Gregor. That you ever do that? I never understood that usage. Anyway, this whole dialogue is slightly paraphrased, also, in case you hadn't noticed. But Beric, even though he says, we're eating these guys' food, yeah, I mean, he's not actually eating himself, And as Arya remarked, he doesn't seem to sleep either. This is a guy who should be dead, but he's not. He's been stabbed, hanged, impaled, shot, blown up to smithereens, shot up to the moon, and he's got all the scars to prove it. Broken head, all caved in at the temple, the raw red pit that's his missing eye, or the shape of the skull beneath his face, really, he's got a foot in the grave, and by all laws of nature, he should be dead. He looks a bit dead too, technically. He's basically a skeleton. He's also very skinny. Hardly any flesh on them bones. Told you, Nightmare Before Christmas, reference number 2. And a little similarity, a little sort of like a appearance description that kind of brings Beric closer to the undead, the whites, the White Walkers, and it brings the White Walkers kind of like closer in nature to people resurrected in the same way as Beric was resurrected, because Beric might not be the only one in this series. And I'll shut up now, because spoilers. So, but Beric does notice that his zombie-like appearance kind of like makes Arya uncomfortable, shall we say. So he just asks her, do I make you uneasy, dearie? And she goes, nah, mate. That's all right. Nothing strange in seeing you up and about after suffering a fatal wound in a mortal combat with the Hound. Nah. Nothing to write home about. And this is where Lem interjects. No, Arya, you're so naive. You see, it was an almost fatal wound, but not quite, because otherwise, how could Beric still be alive, right? You see what I mean? Yeah. And dear listener, by now even we know that there's something supernatural at play in these resurrections. In fact, I think that if you try to take Beric Dondarrion's pulse, you would find that he hasn't got one, I think. Of course, back in Arya 4, it was Lem who denied Dondarrion was dead, when chatting with the lady of the leaves, the Lothlorien lady. He just went, nah, he ain't dead. Nah, that's fake news, mate. Nah. And even if it was true, one doesn't die from being stabbed in the eye. We've got, Jack Be Lucky with us, He received the same type of wound, and look at him, as right as rain. So at the time, we thought, okay, so Lem is constantly making an effort to deny that Sir Beric Dondarrion might have actually been killed and yet still be alive and well, because he doesn't want anybody to know that supernatural magic is involved in such a superstitious universe as this obviously is. Being alive and well, the two things not necessarily being mutually exclusive, I meant, in the Beric's case. So, is Lem genuinely convinced that Beric has simply recovered from his wounds every single time, or is he trying to cover up the full story? Well, but that's what we thought at the time. But by now, we know. Arya, an 11-year-old girl, has seen with her own eyes that the blow Beric received was lethal. And yet Lemoncello, that's what I'm going to call him now. Lemoncello, which is Lemmy from the Motorhead playing cello. There is such an image out there on the internet. Look it up if you don't believe me. It's labeled limoncello. It's what it is that the deal with limoncello is that it is still convinced that no, it's Thoros who happens to be like a really good healer. What it all boils down to is that Lem's mind simply refuses to believe. That's what I think. He can't process the notion. He's one of those guys. What can you do? He will never be convinced, In fact, even Beric just gives Lem such a weird look, like from one eye only. You know, he looks at him for a while, like in disbelief at what he just said. And it's kind of like he's thinking, seriously, are you really as dumb as that? But he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that because they're comrades in arms. And now all he says is like, yeah, sure, I was healed. Yeah, that's right. Splash of water in the face, you know? Yeah, a bit of fresh air, that's what did the trick. And I'm back to life. I was healed from a lethal stab. That's right. Say, Lem, why don't you just go get up and take the next watch? Yeah, good lad. Leave Arya and me, you know, alone. We have some grown-up talk to do. So, you know, once Lem is out of the picture, the truth comes out. Thoros of Myr has brought Beric Dondarrion back to life 6 times so far. He attributes the miracles to the red god Raholor, but is that even how this whole thing goes down, really? We don't even know if Raholor is real. But Thoros reminds Beric, you know, hey, he goes, tell you what, mate, next time might be the last, yeah? Next time might be the one that claims both of our lives, in fact, you know? Why do you always get your hands dirty, mate? Why couldn't you simply lead from the rear, like those other cheerful guys, you know? Tywin Lannister, Stannis Baratheon, and so on. And this is where we find out that Beric is actually losing memories of his past life, see? Whoa, that's already 2 things he's got in common with the Whites. Which is not 1.5, okay, because he still remembers his name and he can talk. You know, he hasn't used his faculties. He hasn't lost his faculties altogether. But you know, with every resurrection, it appears that he loses some of his memories of his past lives. I mean, remember I told you at the beginning that these kinds of resurrections are not so dissimilar from the resurrections of the White Walkers. There you go. I mean, Beric is not a certified George Romero type zombie, but. Here, let me read you this quote from him. It's a bit long, but bear with me. I held a castle on the marches once, and there was a woman I was pledged to marry. But I could not find that castle today, nor tell you the color of that woman's hair. Who knighted me, old friend? What were my favorite foods? It all fades. Sometimes I think I was born on the bloody grass in that grave, the grove of ash, with a taste of fire in my mouth and a hole in my chest. Are you my mother, Thoros? Which he may well be, you know, in this new life of his. Off topic. Color and favorite, the words color and favorite are both spelled the American way. That is without the letter U. I mean, it's a universe where foods from the American continent aren't available. Potatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. And yet somehow certain words conform to the American spelling as devised by Noah Webster, you know, as in Merriam-Webster dictionary. Okay, I know, I realize it really takes a nerd of a social linguist like yours truly to get all hung up about something like that. Anyway, so Arya, whose mind can accept the fact that actual miracles are taking place here, just asks Thoros, "Hey, can you bring back to life someone who was beheaded like over a year ago?" Arya, do you even know what you're asking for? Eddard is a skeleton by now. We don't actually know exactly where his bones are. That will be an ongoing mystery. They will remain a point of contention in this series. But anyway, so Thoros just gives her a very polite, if a bit long and convoluted explanation, which really boils down to, no. Beric too understands that it's her dad that she's talking about, and he's all like, yeah, he was a good man, your dad, He is, after all, the guy who set this whole Brotherhood Without Banner thing in motion in the first place. But yeah, we're still going to ransom you for to your mum for cash. Yeah, what are you going to do? We're strapped for cash. To be fair, these Brothers Without Banners are, in this novel, the closest thing to heroes, or good guys, They did risk lives to save these brown brothers, the monks, who aren't even of the same faith, because who cares? They're part of the, they're helpless, the innocent, the kind of people heroes are supposed to protect. Plus, the gold they took from the Hound, they didn't keep. They gave it to Greenbeard and the huntsman to buy provisions, south of the Mander. And speaking of faith, that's right, George. Don't think we didn't notice how you made us draw the comparison with Melisandre. I mean, not coincidentally. You're all, your mind did go there at some point, didn't it? Because Melisandre, she's a bit intolerant, isn't she? She orders to have statues of the 7 gods burned because she considers them false idols, versus the tolerance demonstrated by Beric and Thoros, who accept to abstain from praying for a day lest they offend the Brown Brothers. Same religion on paper, Okay, final consideration. Miracles. Miracles happen in this series, or magic if you prefer. Miracles that can be attributed to the various religions in this universe. R'hllor 1. Faith of the 7, nil so far. We will return to that, don't worry. Because everything keeps pointing to the fact that the religion of the 7th was invented by people, men probably. Because, men. Such a patriarchal thing. Of course, men. No, wouldn't you say so? Who's left? The old gods. Yeah, well, right now, we're not considering the whole weirwood tree, children of the forest, old gods package, because we don't know a lot about them yet. Pieces will be placed together as we go along, I say. Anyway, things have changed, I'm already jumping the gun. So Beric continues. Yeah, what are you going to do? We're strapped for cash. We needed the gold. The plan is to ransom you to your brother King Rob. That's right. And Arya's like, wait. What if he doesn't pay? What if he won't pay? I'm not the same Arya. He remembers, he might have become fussy. Because I'm not exactly King's sister material right now. Look at me. I'm a mess. Callous feet. Tangled hair. But what she's really thinking is, let's not forget that I've also killed people in cold blood. Yeah. Which even, King Rob... King Rob had to. Actually. Just ask Rickard Karstark. Try and say it really quick 10 times in a row. Just ask Rickard Karstark. Oh, no, you cannot. Because Rob made him a head shorter. But anyway, no, okay. No, but of course, but Thoros and Beric aren't particularly concerned about that. Will Rob accept to pay the ransom or not? They're going to ransom Arya to either her brother Rob or her mother Catelyn. And that's that. Yeah, they do have a plan B. Of course, that's exactly how the plan is going to go, right? Because it has been announced. And as we have learned from this series of novels, every time a plan is announced, it will go exactly as per timeline, procedure, step by step. Yeah, isn't that how things go in this series? 100%. Okay, I better shut up at this point because spoiler policy. Okay, I've mentioned it earlier, but I haven't told you about it, loud and clear. So here I go. It's simple. Spoiler policy. My spoiler policy is simple. None. I'll try as much as I can not to give out any spoilers in case you, dear listener, happen to be a first-time reader. In this series, I will only be looking back and not ahead. By the time Lem returns, let's get back to the chapter at hand. By the time Lem returns to the brew house, the brewery, it's chucking down, it's pouring... while Angai and Jack Bielaki are rolling dice, the latter having no luck at all. Okay, by now it's clear that to everyone that the nickname Jack Bielaki is really a dark joke on the fact that he doesn't seem to have any luck whatsoever. Tom Seven Strings is also there, and since it's a rainy... why, of course, he's got a whole rainy day repertoire because it's a rainy day. So listen to the titles of these hits. The Mother's Tears, When Willem's Wife Was Wet. Whoa, www. Lord Hart Rode Out on a Rainy Day. There you go. And of course, the obligatory The Rains of Castamere. Aha! Yeah. Did that make you want to go pee? Anyway. Now this last song isn't just any piece of entertainment, by the way. The Rains of Castamere. It's actually a piece of propaganda. Haha. I know you're chuckling, dear listener, as in didn't know there was a difference between the two. I know you and I think alike, dear listener. Entertainment, propaganda, I know. Don't get me started. Not on this channel, anyway. No, but the first time we heard a reference to these Castamere guys was in Tyrion 3, this same book. Yeah, so long as we're talking about it. And just to be reminded that Rains here is actually the name of a house, now extinct. It's spelled Rewnes, so it's a play on words. Really. Here's what Tyrion was thinking back in that chapter. I've got the actual quote here. His father, Lord Tywin, did not suffer disloyalty in his vassals. He had extinguished the proud reigns of Castamere and the ancient Tarbecks of Tarbeck Hall, root and branch, when he was still half a boy. The singers had even made a rather gloomy song of it, the Reigns of Castamere. And if the song was not enough, the shattered castles of the Rains and Tarbecks still stood as mute testimony to the fate that awaited those who chose to scorn the power of Casterly Rock. There, long quote. It ended there, huh? Long quote, but I felt it necessary because we're getting closer and closer to a particular infamous chapter where knowing the history behind the song will be important to allow us to better appreciate the action. And that's all I'm going to say for now. Chapter 52. So anyway, things progress a bit uneventfully until, out of the blue, plot twist. Gendry decides to ask if he can join the Brotherhood. Surprise! He tells them, look guys, I'm a blacksmith's apprentice and I can do all sorts of blacksmith. Oh God, I can't talk today. Blacksmith stuff for you, I've made tools and knives, and once I made a helmet. That wasn't so bad. Once, unfortunately, one of the mountains men stole it from me when we was taken, which is true. Last time we saw that bull head shaped helmet was in the hands of that Poliver. Poliver, works for the Lannisters. It's Poliver, the whole group. Poliver, the Tickler, the Sweetling, all those guys. and wonder if we will ever see that helmet again, huh? And yes, Polliver is the same guy who also stole Arya's sword, needle. Polly, that's not cool to take other people's properties. Were you never told that at kindergarten, huh? Anyway, so first thing Arya is thinking is, oh great, here's another so-called friend who's just going to leave me. And Beric goes, boy, were you not listening? I mean, I just said we haven't got 2 pennies to rub together. How about Lord Tully up in Riverrun, where you are headed anyways? Well, we're all headed. Wouldn't you better be off, working for Lord Tully? Whoever happens to be Lord Tully right now, Hoster, Edmure. Because at least you can get a steady check over there, and maybe even dental insurance. Who knows, But Gendry ain't in it for the money, He's an idealist. He's seen enough of what the Brotherhood without banners does, and that's good enough for him, They help the little folks. He's little folk. They help the Smurfs. So plus, they believe in a fair trial. There, sold. He's in. And Beric not only hires his service, welcome aboard, young man, and all that, but he also knights him, makes him a knight. It takes one to make one. I mean, he gives him the speedy procedure, not the whole shebang, the whole anointment process. He just says the words and goes through the motions, kind of like Thoros every time he resurrects him. But this time the words don't sound so hollow. Here, let me read them to you, because I think it's the first time. Do you swear before the eyes of the gods and men to defend those who cannot defend themselves, to protect all women and children, to obey your captains, your liege lord, and your king, to fight bravely when needed, and do such other tasks as are laid upon you, however hard or humble or dangerous they may be? Think about the fact that the knights we have encountered so far aren't exactly, upholding these words. I mean, Gregor Clegane is a knight, for God's sake. Oh, and speaking of Clegane, this is where another character enters the scene. From the door came rough, rasping laughter. And I just did my version of the rasping laughter. Because we all know there's only one character in these books whose voice is rasping. The Hound himself. With a proper villainous laugh, kind of like Peg Leg Pete. And he enters the scene with a classical line. I ought to kill you all over again just for the fact that you are making more knights. You see, he can't stand knights. Of course, he also has seen enough knights in his day to be hostile to them and skeptical of the, shall we say, point and purpose of the words in the oath. Even when he was made a member of the King's Guard, you might remember, he refused to be knighted, thereby breaking a millennial tradition. And just to remind ourselves, wasn't it a jointed wooden knight, the toy he was playing with as a child, which was the cause of possibly his worst childhood, trauma? I don't think I need to tell you what happened then, because everyone vaguely familiar with the series knows the origin story of the Hound and his half-burned face. But boy, that certainly snuffed out any idealism young Sandor might have had for chivalrous tales, and turned it into an aversion for knights. Rightly so. But I digest. So, yeah. Why are you back, huh? Hound? Beric demands to know. I mean, he's thinking, okay, they call him the Hound. He's got dogs on his sigil, but that doesn't mean we have to play that old trope with him, He followed me home. Can we keep him? So, can I help you, Monsieur Clegane? Can I help you, Monsieur Clegane? And how did you make it past the receptionist, anyway? You know, the sentries out there. How did you... Aha! Why, I'm glad you asked. Maybe I killed them, huh? What are you going to do about that? This is the Hound answering, you know. Notice that he says maybe, huh? Be it as it may, the Hound is back to demand to have his gold returned to him. A bit late for that, if you ask me. I mean, I don't know exactly how many days have passed since they sent Sandor on his merry way, but between them and now, Beric had all the time to send the gold south with Greenbeard and the huntsman to buy grain and seeds and stuff across the Mander. So there's that. Plus, if this isn't a classical you and what army kind of situation, you know, as in, yes, you're here to get your gold back, but you don't really have the muscle to issue any threats. If we just say no, what are you going to do? Cry? You know. Besides, aren't you happy with the IOU we gave you in exchange for your gold? I see. Yeah, because they have this tradition. The Brotherhood without banners is beginning to sound like a central bank. You know, the Federal Reserve or whatever. Yeah, we're printing these things. Is that as good as gold? Yeah, surely it should be. No, but seriously, I bet this was Thoros' idea, you know, the IOU, because remember from way back in Clash of Kings that there was this rumor going around of Thoros foraging among the villagers and repaying the poor fellas with written notes that they couldn't even read. You know, one of these farmers was complaining about it at Harrenhal in an Arya VI chapter. I'm on fire today. And Sandor, too, you know, explains to the Brotherhood that such IOUs are as good as bathroom tissues, to which the kids start abusing him, you know. Gendry and Arya, they're all like, yeah, well, the actual gold was to reimburse those farmers whose crops you burned. And Arya, not to be outdone, just goes, yeah, and I should have stabbed you to death when I had the chance. I would have, if Lem hadn't confiscated my knife there and then. Okay. First of all, what crops should I have burned, you say? Do you think I've got nothing better to do? Notice how he neither confirms nor denies, yeah? And nice one, Arya. You've got spirit. Dondarrion. Are you going to make her a knight as well? An 8-year-old knight? This is Sandor speaking. And Arya resents that. She goes, well, I'll have you know that I'm actually 12. There. She's neither 8 nor 12. The appendix on Storm of Swords says she's 10. Possibly going on 11. And she doubles down here. Yeah, and I might have lost my chance to kill you back then, but you're still on my hit list. So yeah, watch your back, because I'll eventually whack you and your brother. And this, dear listener, is when Sandor narrows his eyes and goes, oh no, that you won't. Which I feel I'm not the first to interpret as, oh no, that asshole is mine and mine only to whack, you know? Still harking back to that toy, the wooden jointed knight. And who knows how many more years of abuse after that. Think about it, huh? There certainly are some shitty older brothers in this series, now that I think about it. I'm thinking of a certain character from the Iron Islands, whom we'll encounter in a future book. Say no more. Anyway, so Lem goes, listen, mate, on your horse, yeah? Off you go. Which the Hound actually does, you know, surprisingly, because what else is he going to do? Or maybe not so surprisingly, because at the end of the day, he's outnumbered. So he takes a long, good stare at everyone's face, as if committing them to memory. And he just leaves into the rainy night. Anticlimactically. I managed to pronounce that word. I'm all grown up. I can say long words. But Sander, yeah, have we seen the last of him? Really? Aha, well, we'll just have to keep reading. How did he get that gold anyway? The brothers, want to know. But Angai knows about the Hans tourney because he was also there. And he also won a tidy sum of money too, except he has some of it left. Actually, no, he doesn't have some of it left. I need to drink a sip of water. He has none of it left. He blew it all. He spent it all. That's better. He blew it all on fine foods, fine wine, as well as sex workers, among whom none other than Alayaya. Alayaya. Yeah, remember her? I think she was one of Tyrion's favorite. Jack Bilaki disapproves. He goes, yeah, man, you should have invested that money in, I don't know, a plot of land or something and maybe grown some turnips. Could this be the reason why Jack Bilaki is so unlucky? Because he doesn't treat himself to the fine things in life. And Anthony Robbins would agree, Jack, man, you set your life expectation too low. Okay, I'm gonna stop trying and do an Anthony Robbins impression. Your idea of treating yourself is planting turnips. That's how big your dreams are. Okay, no, okay. I said I'd stop, and I'll stop. So anyway, as it turns out, Sandor Clegane didn't kill the sentries, as they find out, the brothers, without banners, find out. Do you smell one of those George R. R. Martin character sort of, 180-degree turnaround? Because Sandor was clearly set up as a villain, just one of Cersei's and Joffrey's henchmen, should we say. He killed Micah, an innocent boy from a lower class, But now, after all that gradual tweaking to his character, first and foremost saving Sansa from the enraged mob in that King's Landing riot, Clash of Kings, could it be that our sympathies we as readers are getting our sympathies, drawn towards this character? Anti-hero, anti-villain, who knows? And now Thoros considers that Clegane is penniless and unemployed and unemployable because he deserted the King's Guard, can offer his services to King Robb, and yet Beric doesn't reckon he's likely to try and kill the brothers without banners in their sleep. Because, you see, it's all about honor and stuff. Whereas his brother Gregor, a properly anointed knight, wouldn't think twice before murdering people in their sleep. Nice contrast, huh? Well played, Georgie boy. The Lord of Light is not yet done with Joffrey's hound, it would seem, is Thoros' conclusion. Amen. Still, no one sleeps comfortably, nonetheless, that night, thinking about the hound, prowling around, except that all they can hear is wolves howling. Arya goes through her customary, kill list, but here's the interesting thing. She can barely remember the faces attached to all those names. Interesting, huh? The theme of forgetfulness of one's past life returns here, huh? And the list that pops in Arya's mind is actually that of all the people she has lost, either because they abandoned her, in her own words, or because they're dead. Jack and Agar left. Hot Pie left. Lummy, I think, died. Killed by Lannister. By Polliver, I think. Yoren killed too. Syrio Forel killed off screen. We don't know exactly who did the deed. And now Gendry. The next day, just to consolidate, the general pervasive mood of cheer, they're all digging shallow graves for those naughty bloody mummers. So what a perfect opportunity for Gendry, to turn to Arya, because you see, he knows what that means to her, Another person abandoning her. That's her arc, apparently, character arc. So Gendry just tries to say, it's not money I'm after, or glory, or whatever, just want to do my bit. You know what I'm saying? To offer some relief to the little guy. To be there for them. I'll be there, Henry Fonda. Think of me as an intern, a volunteer in a charity NGO, But Arya is all like, yeah, if you want to be some stupid outlaw knight and get hanged, why should I care? I'll be at River Run, ransomed with my brother. There. That's right, Arya. Keep saying that to yourself. You might even eventually believe it. And with Arya pretending to be, desensitized to people in her life, constantly abandoning her, this chapter, my dear listener, ends. And what a great chapter that was. And if you have any comments, if you like this kind of content, don't forget to do the things. And I look forward to speaking to you again in none other than a brand chapter. Oh, there you go. All the best to you. Speak to you soon. Ciao.